Okay. So today we are finishing the warm-up right now, and then we are going to go over a few application questions. Whoop. So for this next one, on the left, you've got base 9, and then you just add your exponents. So this is going to be 9 to the 2x plus x minus 1. Well, what is 2x plus x minus 1? Just 3x minus 1. We can't do anything with the minus 1, but we can combine our x's. And then that equals 27. The next thing I would do, change these both to base 3. So you know that 3 to the 0 is 1. 3 to the first power is 3. 3 squared is 9. 3 cubed is 27. So we can change this 9 to be base 3. And then we still have a 3 as an exponent, and we're going to multiply it times the other exponent of 3x minus 1. Then we're going to change 27 to be 3 cubed. This should be a 2, sorry. So now that our bases match, we can get rid of the bases. You can say 2 times 3x minus 1 equals 3. Set your exponents equal to each other. And then distribute this. So we get 6x minus 2 equals 3. Add 2. We get 6x equals 5. Now what's the last step? Divide by 6. So x is just 5 over 6. Next question says, there are initially 20 bacteria cells in a petri dish. The number of bacteria cells doubles every 30 minutes. That's where this 2 comes from. It doubles. Okay. And then the question asks, how many bacteria cells will be in the petri dish after 4 hours? Well, it doubles every 30 minutes. You got to figure out how many times does 30 minutes happen within a 4-hour period? 8, right? Each hour has 2 30-minute increments. And for 4 hours, that's 4 times 2, that's 8. So what you're going to do, you're going to put in an 8 for x. That's going to be 20 times 2 to the 8th power equals what? 5,120. You have a test question just like this with different numbers. Okay. Last question. Jittery Joe's began selling roasted coffee in 2004. There is a Jittery Joe's. I'm not sure if they got their start in 2004. I just kind of made this up. But Jittery Joe's began selling roasted coffee in 2004. The function f of x equals 4,320 times 1.18 to the t power represents the total pounds of coffee being sold x years after 2004. Based on this information, what can you say about the situation in terms of exponential functions? Well, because this is bigger than 1, we know this represents exponential growth. Okay. We know that the growth factor is 18%. Can't see that. We know the growth factor is 18%. And then in 2004, how many coffee beans did they sell? when they first started? What was their initial? Yeah, so this means in 2004, Jittery Joe's sold 4,320 coffee beans. Get out your notes for today. And this will be great study material for your test on Friday. These warm-up questions. I'd look over them several times, make sure you understand these questions. So we've got 7 questions, some application stuff. This page is what we're going to do in class, and then the next page is your homework. So this back page is homework, and there's only, 2 questions, really 5 questions, but still not much. Okay, you ready? In the TV show Shark Tank, budding entrepreneurs pitch their business idea to 5 sharks in the hopes of getting an investment into their business. The sharks must weigh whether or not they will invest based on how successful they think the business will be. In May of 2014, the meal kit service, Plated, appeared on Shark Tank looking for an investment from the sharks. Question 1. When Robert, one of the sharks, asked about their expected upcoming sales, the entrepreneurs projected that by the end of the calendar year, so by the end of the calendar year, they would have $2.5 million in sales. And their sales would continue to double every 6 months after that. That's very important. It doubles every 6 months. So in a year, how many times does it double? Twice, right? All right, so if the end of 2014, I'm gonna make a little note, the end of 2014, they're gonna be at 2.5 million. It's saying, according to their projections, when will the sales reach 5 million? So if we double 2.5, 2.5 times 2 is 5, right? So that's at the end of 2014, they have 2.5. Another 6 months and they double. So this is going to be halfway through 2015. So like the summer of 2015. So we're going to say June of 2015, or the end of June. Um, 6 months later, that's when they're going to have that $5 million. Because at the end of 2014, it was 2.5 they projected. If they're growing, if they're doubling every 6 months, they would have 5 million, halfway through the next year. Does that make sense? Okay. According to their projections, what would the sales by the end of 2015 be? So another 6 months. If we're at 5, what happens when we double 5? 5 times 2 is what? 10. So at this point, they're going to have 10 million. So 1 year equals 12 months. And that would be 2 doubling periods. And then up here, just know that 6 months is the doubling period. Okay. And then the last question, according to their projections, what would their sales be by the end of 2016? So if we double, okay, so this is the end of 2015 would be 10. So if we double 10 million, what is that? 20. And that's going to be halfway through 2016. But at the end of 2016, if we double the 20 million, what is that? 40 million. So that's 2 years. So that's 24 months, which equals 4 doubling periods. I'm the kind of person, I like to have charts, and this is what I did. Like, this is how I kind of figured this out and made notes. So at the end of 2014, we're at 2.5 million, and it doubles every 6 months. So at the middle of 2015 would be 5. The end of 2015 would be 10. The middle of the next year would be 20, and at the end of 2016 would be 40. If you have to make little charts like that and little things, that's fine. I do it too. Like, if you have to make a table, make a table. Number 2. Mark Cuban, another shark, asks about the projected total sales by the end of March 2016. How many months is this from the start of 2015? So March 2016, that's 3 months into 2016, right? And then you've got the whole year of 2015. How many months are in a year? 12. So what's 12 plus 3? 15. So that's 15 months. How many doubling periods have taken place since the start of 2015? Well, 2015, there would have been 2, so 2.5. Yeah. And if you're not sure, you can take that number, 15 months, 6 months is the doubling period. You can divide it by 6. You should get 2.5. How should the entrepreneurs answer Mark Cuban's question? Well, his question was what? Yeah, he wants to know what the projected total sales by the end of March 2016 is going to be, which is not halfway through the year. It's like a fourth of the year, right? Um, so it's going to be, we double, but it's going to be 2.5 for the time, okay? And then 2 to the 2.5 power is what? Yeah. So this is 5.6 times greater than initial amount. Okay, Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, doesn't want to play the long game. He wants to make sure he gets his money back. He asks the entrepreneurs about the projected sales 2 months from the start of 2015. Question A, will the sales have doubled at this point? Explain. Well, what is our doubling period? 6 months. How would that compare to 2 months? Not the same. 2 months is less than 6 months, so it hasn't had a chance to double. So 2 months of 6 months, 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6 is 1/3, right? Okay. So we would say no to this because this is less than the doubling period. How should the entrepreneurs answer Mr. Wonderful's question? They wouldn't have doubled, but they are growing still because this is an exponential growth situation. So if you start out at 2.5 million, that's your initial amount, right? And you're doubling, so that's 2. The time would be 1/3 because it's 1/3 of 6 months, right? 2 months is 1/3 of 6 months. So if we type that in, 2.5 times 2 to the 1/3 power. So that is 3.15 million. You know, that's the amount that it's going up. It's not necessarily doubling in that amount of time, but it is increasing and it's going to be that amount. Question 4, how many doubling periods will occur in T months? Write an expression. Okay. So it's going to be T out of 6, right? So to write your equation, your cells are going to be your starting point, which was what? 2.5. We are doubling. And we're going to raise that to the T divided by 6 power. That's going to be the number of times we've doubled. And you can use this same equation for the next question. And if you had to separate it, you could also say this, 2.5 times 2 to the 1/6 power times T. When you multiply that out, you end up getting this. So what is the monthly growth rate? Well, the growth rate is just this part. 2 to the 1/6 power, which is 1.122 or 12.2%. So in the episode, the entrepreneurs say they're growing at just over 40% each month, but we just found that the monthly growth rate is 12.2. So they are incorrect. They are not true. This is not true. They don't grow at 40% each month. It's more like 12%. They were, inflating their numbers a little bit. Okay, so the rest of class, I want you to flip the page over and do those two questions. I'm going to give you, see a little section at the top. I'll give you stuff for that if you need it. I'll put it on the board. But once you finish those two questions, you need to turn this in on Canvas. You can find it under the week 3 weekly planner. Okay. Guys, on the video, I'm going to find the paper and then you guys can pause it if you need it. Okay, if you need that, go ahead and pause the screen. If you're watching the video, pause the screen. I'm about to end the video.